Today's reading webinar series, session number 4, its focus is supporting students with diverse needs, differentiated instruction. The objectives for today's webinar are to describe differentiated instruction, to discuss the importance of differentiated instruction in today's classrooms, and to show how Reach for Reading can be used to differentiate instruction. Throughout this presentation, we're going to focus on two aspects of differentiating instruction. Within each classroom setting, there are diverse learners. Howard Gardner has identified 7 learning styles: spatial, linguistics, logical mathematical, musical, intrapersonal, interpersonal, and bodily kinetic, which all learners use to problem solve, understand self and others. However, individuals differ in the strength of each intelligence and often favor specific intelligence or learning domains. Every unit of Reach for Reading concludes with a project about the unit's big questions. Students are asked to share their idea, which honors various learning styles by offering a variety of means for students to use to express their ideas. Differentiated instruction takes into account the diverse population of students enrolled in today's educational settings. It provides support to ensure success for all students enrolled. The core curriculum provides all students, regardless of the range of student, prior knowledge and ability, to succeed and learn within a regular educational setting. The I says it all. Instruction takes into account each individual in the classroom setting. Instruction is planned to meet the individual learning style and intelligence of each student. Core literacy instruction is implemented with fidelity, intensity, passion, and reasonable accommodations. Response to intervention is a differentiated 3-tier instructional design developed to meet the diverse population of students enrolled in K-5 classrooms. Tier 1 represents core classroom instruction delivered with fidelity, intensity, passion, and reasonable accommodations. It is expected to meet the needs of most of the students in a classroom. Tier 2 is focused and unified instruction of core instruction, plus 25% additional supplemental targeted strategic instruction delivered in small group settings, either by the classroom teacher, resource teacher, or teacher assistant. Tier 3 represents intensive intervention. In some states, it's identified as special education services. Focused and unified explicit teacher-led instruction is provided within the core instructional program for approximately 30 minutes, plus 1 hour of intensive pull-out targeted strategic instruction. Response for intervention integrates assessments and intervention within a multi-level prevention system to maximize student achievement and to reduce behavior problems. Implementing Reach for Reading with response to intervention, schools can identify student proficiency level, monitor student progress, provide evidence-based interventions, and adjust the intensity and nature of those interventions. Students who do not meet benchmark are also provided Tier 2 instruction. Tier 1 instruction is the core classroom literacy program. Key to the success of the literacy program, literacy materials are aligned to the Common Core State Standards and focus on differentiated instruction to meet the diverse populations of students enrolled in today's K-5 classrooms. In alignment with the ELA standards, Tier 1 core classroom instruction, reading, writing, listening, and speaking, is delivered with fidelity, intensity, passion, and reasonable accommodations. The expectation is that the core literacy program will meet the needs of the majority of the students in the classroom, approximately 75%. In addition to whole group instruction, differentiating small group literacy instruction, guided or small group reading, will be provided by the classroom teacher using leveled materials and identified focused reading strategies. Independent practice provides students opportunities to apply what was taught, learned, using materials at the student's independent reading level built upon whole group and small group instruction. All students engage in a variety of texts throughout the 90 or 120-minute block. The Reach for Reading core program includes an anthology that is rich in literature and informational texts, scaffold teacher guide, comprehension checks, pre- and post-reading activities, vocabulary to support all learners. As discussed previously, Tier 1 is generally defined as reading instruction provided to all students in the class. In the Reach for Reading core reading program, there is a whole class instructional path, which includes strong oral language, reading, writing, and grammar strands. The issue strategy approach demonstrates helpful and useful differentiated teaching ideas to address the diverse populations of students. Reach for Reading demonstrates understanding that each identified population are unique and diverse in and of themselves, and that the suggested strategies take into account challenges teachers and students face even for the above-level learners, where low expectations are often a real issue for our above-level learners. There is a balance of resources to provide differentiated instruction for each of the categories. When creating Reach for Reading, specific attention was paid to the populations whose needs must be met within the comprehensive program, addressing the range from special needs as well as on-level and above-level. Resources and strategies are specifically designed and tallied to ensure differentiated instruction and an appropriate balance to meet the needs of the heterogeneous reading classrooms. Tier 2 instruction is the core literacy program plus additional targeted strategic instruction. The targeted strategic instruction is delivered by the classroom teacher and/or interventionist who might be literacy coach, reading specialist, or instructional aide in alignment with the core instructional program and Common Core state standards. Frequent progress monitoring is utilized to ensure that the intervention, instruction, and materials are working. The expectation is that the core literacy program plus Tier 2 targeted instruction will support students identified at the 10 to 25 percentile of the classroom. Students who do not meet benchmark are provided Tier 2 instruction, and their progress is monitored with formative assessment. For students who need additional help in decoding foundational skills, Reach for Phonics, reteaching routines and resources in the assessment and reteaching section of the Teacher's Edition, and the ESL kit for grades K to 5 are utilized. For students who need additional work with language proficiency, the ESL kit can be suggested, and in some states and districts, ESL intervention can be described as Tier 2. Built within the Reach for Reading core literacy program are components readily available to provide targeted comprehension intervention and fluency practice, which is provided through Practice Masters and the use of Comprehension Coach. Often teachers are responsible to provide Tier 2 instruction. How to accomplish this? Time is allocated in pacing for level library for teachers to work with their Tier 2 students. Students can also work with peers during partner reading and independently using the Comprehension Coach. Tier 3 instruction provides intensive intervention for students either identified as special education or potential special education students. Generally, less than 10% of the student population are considered Tier 3. Some states identify Tier 3 as special education, others as watch. Regardless, students receive at least 60 minutes of intensive intervention plus 30 minutes of core instruction. Delivery of the core literacy program, reading, writing, listening, and speaking, in alignment with the Common Core ELA standards, is delivered with fidelity, intensity, passion by the classroom teacher and/or interventionist and/or special education within the classroom. The intensive intervention block is provided by the literacy reading interventionist and/or special education teacher and is an alternative instructional model that differs from the core program. The expectation is that less than 10% of the student population requires intensive intervention. Formative assessment is critical for differentiation. Both summative and formative assessments provide teachers with data to provide informed, differentiated instruction. Thank you for taking the time to view and listen to the presentation on differentiated instruction.